So after seeing the title, after seeing the thumbnail for this video, a lot of you are probably clicking on it thinking I'm going to talk a bunch of crap about Gogeta and the rest of this update. And while you're right that I am going to be talking about Gogeta, it's not necessarily in the way a lot of you probably think I'm going to, so let's just go ahead and get right into it. First and foremost, guys, as you can see, you have the normal odds of pulling a Sparking or an Extreme or a Hero. So 75% of your pulls are going to be Heroes on average, 20% going to be Extremes, and 5% going to be Sparkings. Now, usually that's how it is, so you really can't get too mad about that, even though obviously a step-up banner is going to have more value in the sense that you're going to be pulling a lot more Sparkings off of it, and usually a lot more, for a given amount of Chrono Crystals. So that's definitely something that you're going to want to compare to this banner if you're trying to figure out the overall value of it. With that said, we have a few other different sort of situations going on with this banner that make it much less value than the average banner. The main thing here is that you have 39 options, guys. 39 options with a still 5% chance of pulling these Sparkings. So you still have the normal 1% on Gogeta for 999 Z power. That's great. Don't get me wrong. That's perfect. I can appreciate that. You're still going to have people that go drive for upwards of 30,000 Chrono Crystals. You can see them down in the comments of my summon videos and other people's summon videos. There are people that have spent a lot of money on Chrono Crystals and gotten absolutely nothing worth talking about. More so with this banner, where your other featured units here only have a 0.5% chance of being pulled. So in total, to get a relatively recent featured unit, you only have a 1.5% chance of getting one of them, okay? One of the three, whereas you usually have double that, a 3% chance of pulling a relatively recent featured unit. And in this case, there's only one actually new featured unit, so you're only going for that 1% most likely if you're summoning on this banner. If you get Vegeta, if you get Super Broly, you're probably going to be happy with them, but you would definitely hope that they're going to be Gogeta in that case. You're not going to be like, oh, this is amazing, I totally summon on this banner specifically for these dudes. You won't say that because everybody's summoning for Gogeta. So you have basically a 1.5% chance of pulling a Sparking that you really want out of this banner, a reason that you'd summon on it. The rest of them have a ridiculously small chance of being pulled. So you can't count on pulling any one in particular. You can't count on pulling them if you want them, but you can count on pulling together. Their overall odds are going to be about a 3.5, or if you don't count Blue Broly since he has a higher rate, a 3.25% chance of pulling something that you're definitely not going to be summoning for specifically. And it might be something you're okay with. Again, there are some great options scrolling down this list for support characters that'll go very nicely onto quite a few teams. Gotenk's going to be a great option. Just scrolling through here, you see quite a few of them. Bardock's awesome still. Shield is awesome still. Super Saiyan Gohan, Super Saiyan 2 Trunks, Mai, Kaba here, Caulifla, Kale, great options, okay? Don't get me wrong, but again, you cannot rely on summoning them. And we're going to get into other things in this video than this banner, by the way. I just want to start on the banner because that's going to be the main thing that I want to talk about today. Now, scrolling on down, as far as Extremes are concerned, you're seeing a lack of a lot of Extremes that people are actually going to want. Looking through this entire list, there are a few supports that are relatively recent. There are a few supports that are older but still really good based on their Z abilities. But most of these are not going to be the new EXs that you actually want. Once you get to the bottom of this list, you are going to see a few of them. The new androids, Thouser, Caulifla, and Vegeta here. Those are maybe ones that you might be looking for. But at the same time, you're missing a lot of the newer ones that are very powerful that people actually want, okay? So as far as Extremes are concerned, that's 20% of your pulls. That's 2 out of 10 pulls, guys, is going to be most likely not an Extreme that's relatively recent that you're actually going to want to get, okay? So that takes even more value overall away from this banner. So what this really boils down to is being a banner where you have roughly a 1.5% chance of pulling something that you actually are actively summoning for. And even if you want, an assortment of like 4 or 5 of these Sparkings, which, again, they're relatively outdated for the most part, so you're probably not going to be able to find that, ones that you'd actively want to use in anything other than, again, a support category. You're probably not going to find that. So, maybe it adds another, 0.45% chance, or 0.5% chance rather, if you add up, 5 of them that you actually want. So maybe you have like a 2% chance of pulling something you're actually, happy with. But otherwise, the overall value here, did not mean to do that. Overall value here is just not very good, okay? This is not a good banner. And they really, really make it seem based on, the actual image itself. This is the final collab summon. This is hype. Look at these featured units. You got another transforming character, and you got Super Saiyan God Vegeta. Oh my gosh, they're featured, man. That means 3% usually, but it only means 1.5% now. And on top of that, the rest of the support that you could possibly get here isn't very good compared to what they have in very recent banners. And that is just really unfortunate because this update looked like on the outside looking in, it was going to be really, really good. Even after the leaks came out, after the data mines happened, when it wasn't actually implemented in totally yet, we thought, okay, this is all right. It's a collab summon banner, but it is going to have 2 of the previous featured units from collab summons, and they are still good. And, again, God Vegeta is going to get better as time goes on as we get more God Key characters. But in this case, it's just not the value you'd want it to be. It's not the value you'd expect it to be, and it's not something we really should be supporting as an entire player base, because they're going to use this as a reason to farther dilute the pool of sparkings you can pull from a banner and make it so, again, featured units are going to have less and less of a chance of actually being pulled as time goes on. Now, they are going to have to, up rates eventually, but right now is not that time because they still have a rabid player base. They're still making a lot of money. If you look at all the reports, the money they're making, the revenue going through this game is really big, okay? Like, a lot of money, okay? You can look it up. There's a lot of stats on it. It's pretty big. So, yeah, while it's not Dokkan level just yet, definitely making a lot of money for them, and they're just trying things out. Every single thing they do is a test and will be used in the future to determine what they're going to be doing next. So if this performs well, then they might be just screwing us over for every banner down the line that's not, a step up or anything like that. Or maybe this performs so well that they just totally get rid of the step up, banner style completely, that sort of format for banners. I don't think they'll do that. But if this banner just made a stupidly high amount of money compared to every other banner in the past, then they might consider that for, your big summons, for the ones that are like Gogeta or Super Vegito or, Gogeta Blue or Vegito Blue or any other, summon that's going to be absolutely massive and have a lot of hype behind it. So just keep all this in mind, please, because it's a little bit important that we do sort of support the things that we want to support with our dollars, with our wallet, or not support the things that we don't want to support with our wallet additionally by, withholding funds that we otherwise would have spent on the game. And in this case, again, being a content creator, we're incentivized to go ahead and do the summons, get the newest, greatest thing. But I'm talking to you guys that are relatively free to play. You maybe don't spend a lot of money on the game. I've spent a lot of money on this game, okay? And it has been given back to me through ad revenue through this channel, okay? If you're not in that situation, then you have to look at all of this stuff and take it all into account. And other content creators probably won't talk too much about this because there's a lot of flack that comes back when you talk about this kind of thing. But it definitely needs to be discussed. Now, on the subject of finances, on the subject of things you should not spend any money on, all right? Let's go ahead and head over to the shop. We'll see some nice new introductions into the shop. As you can see, I've topped off on Chrono Crystals. I bought all of the really, really good deals. The rest of them, we have a few days left on it, but it's definitely not going to be something I pick up because $28.99 as opposed to $20.99. Definitely want to save that $8 when possible. And we're going to get more deals very, very soon, I would imagine. So, definitely wanted to pick up the lowest reduced cost ones that we could get because just for future summons and things like that, but otherwise not going to. But look at this. 5. Expand it by 5. Get 320 Chrono Crystals and 5 additional equipment spots. Don't buy this, please. Please, guys. I want to plead to you right now. Do not buy this. Don't spend your money on this. I'm not going to, and I hope you don't as well. Because if nobody buys this in general, obviously some people are going to, whales are going to, a lot of people that don't spend a lot of money on the game would consider it if they're just annoyed at having to go back and forth to, sell equipment and then go back to playing PvP or whatever and then sell equipment again. Having 10 extra spots or whatever, that's not a bad idea. And, $16 for a permanent increase like that, is it really that crazy bad of a deal? Probably not. But in a lot of situations, you'll be able to, in the example of Dokkan Battle, just an example throwing it out there, okay? You can spend your free Dragon Stones, your free currency, that is paid currency, but you can also get it for free in smaller amounts, okay? You can spend that, 1 Dragon Stone on 5 slots for characters, all right? And if we ever have to do that, we're going to have problems. Me and you, Bandai, will have problems. But, you know, in this game, your limiting factor is obviously going to be equipment more so than your actual characters, since they just don't want to be limiting that. There are a lot of reasons you wouldn't want to limit it in the same way you do in Dokkan. There aren't as many characters that come out in Legends compared to Dokkan. There's a lot of reasons why you wouldn't want to limit it in this game as opposed to Dokkan. So that's probably your best comparison, is the character list function being able to be increased by spending 1 Dragon Stone for 5 slots, as compared to expanding equipment limit by 5. But this is $8 and that's 1 Dragon Stone. That's ridiculous, man. You don't even have the option here to spend your Chrono Crystals that you get for free on a reasonable amount of equipment slots, okay? In this case, if you do the math, actually, if you really think about it here, they are equating this to roughly $5. If I'm doing this quick math correctly, they're equating the value of this equipment limit expansion to about $5, which means that they're equating each one to about $1 in value. Would you pay $1 for 1 equipment limit increase? Maybe, maybe not, but that's ridiculous. You shouldn't have to pay $1 for that. That is just a stupid ask, because it's something that limits how much time you're going to want to spend on the game. It makes it so you have to annoyingly go back and forth between screens when you're, you know, maybe you're on a roll, you got some momentum in PvP, and you just are, you know, going back to back to back to back to back. You're just knocking people out left and right, getting wins left and right, and you're on a streak. And then you have to go back over to equipment. You annoyingly just go through, oh, this one's perfect, so, you know, you have another one that you have to upgrade to see if you're keeping it or not. And then you sell off the ones you're not going to keep. And then you go back into PvP, and maybe you just lose your streak because of that, because you lost your momentum. You're not in the same frame of mind. There's a lot that goes into that, okay? And you have to take that into account, especially as people that are going to be playing the game a lot as PvP players, as, you know, your end game top tier players. And in this case, that is just too much money to be asking for such a basic UI function, a basic feature that, you know, you could easily implement this in as just, you know, 10 Chrono Crystals for a slot. That's simple. Just make it literally that cheap. We will all consider spending significant amounts of Chrono Crystals on slots. Don't put them at $1 a piece. That is just dumb. Please, please, Bandai, don't do this. And then you go on over, you're like, oh, aren't there free options? Chicken, aren't there free options for spending maybe your rare metals or something on them, right? You're spending rare metals. Oh, look, 3,000 a piece, and you can only get 5 of them. My dude, are you kidding me right now, Bandai? You gotta be joking right now. Is this some kind of joke? Look at all the amount that I've saved up of all these rare metals. I could spend this on stupid amounts of, you know, training items. Look at that. 452 gravity machine fuel time 50. That's just stupid. That's crazy. Look at all the rising souls I can get. Boom. I can over double my rising souls on ones. And I can go through and I can fund all of my rising souls for the future for a very long time. And super souls for a very long time. Look, I can get almost 1,700 super soul ones. All right. Look at that. Crazy. Or I could spend half of that and I can buy 5 expanded equipment limits. What? Are you joking right now? We get 250 of them for free, and you're going to make us spend that much on, like, one more? That, you got to be kidding me right now. What do they... Don't do this. Stop doing this, Bandai. Stop it. This makes no sense, dude. Why are you guys doing this? We already spent enough money to be able to just get, you know, the new thing, all right? You just destroy the rates on this banner. Make it so you have like a 1.5% chance of getting something that you might want. And only a 1% chance, again, of getting something featured that you actually are summoning for specifically. And you're going to screw us over on that too. No, man. That's dumb. Don't spend money on this. Please, I'm begging you guys. Please do not spend money on equipment limit increases. Don't do that. Do not support them in this. And they'll eventually make it so, again, you know, and I can see a lot of you guys in other comment sections. You're like, Chicken, or you'll be like, you know, to whatever the creator that's talking about it is, or on, you know, Twitter or whoever else. You're going to be going down to the comments. You're going to be like, Chicken, you can't influence these guys. You're not able to influence the community enough to actually change what they're going to do. And if it makes money, then they're going to be able to, you know, continually put this thing out and make money off of it. They're going to keep doing that, and we're not going to be able to change that. Well, counterpoint here, okay? Counterpoint. If you go on over to your items right now, you've been playing a while, you go to your training items, you see you got a lot of those silver bells just saved up now, right? And you get them through logins, you get them through, you know, missions, and you get them through completing things or whatever else. And you got a lot of them probably, unless you use them all the time, constantly. You know, I save them up generally, so I probably have more than quite a few people, and I've logged in literally every single day since this game, well, for the most part anyways. I think I might have missed a couple days while I was in Germany, but for the most part, I've logged in like every single day that this game has been out. So I've gotten all the rewards from it. And you probably, you know, won't have as many if you haven't been as dedicated to the game as I have. So, or played it as long as I have. So, you know, maybe you have like a third of this or half this. But either way, this used to be something that you could only get by spending on consecutives. You get 10 of them for a single consecutive. And you have to spend it on a crappy old banner as opposed to the brand new banners that you actually want to get the units off of, most likely. So, for example, you know, they had a deal where you get 10 silver bells for summoning a consecutive on the original Master Pack banner. I think it was like 3 months after it came out, okay? Or maybe it was 2 months after it came out. Either way, it was a while after it came out, okay? And we'd already been getting a bunch of tickets for it through PvP, through other means, through login, other things. So, you know, they've slowly been like, okay, they're not going to spend a ton of money to, you know, get consecutives on older banners to be able to get these silver bells. We'll give them out now for free for login rewards and things like that. If we have the same type of thing here, where as a joint community, we decide not to give them any money for this, then maybe they'll do that too in the future. Maybe they'll make it so it's like, oh, it's 300 rare medals for a single equipment slot. You can buy as many as you want. You know, then I'd be like, okay, you know, this is still kind of expensive, but it's worth it because it's going to save you so much time and make it so you don't have to stop a PvP grind to go in and check all the equipment and upgrade things and then sell them. And, you know, it's an annoying process to do, you know, every 10 equipments or so now because we have so many equipments that we just max out almost immediately when we're on a grind. So, yeah, hopefully you guys think similarly in this. We don't end up, you know, having to spend $5 for 5 equipment slots and we only get like the chance to buy a few of them. I'm hoping that, you know, they're like, okay, you could just buy all of them for chrono crystals, 10 a piece, that's it. And then we'll be able to choose if we're going to spend some money on maybe some deals and then get more equipment slots in that way, in a very, very similar way. Again, returning to the Dokkan example, you know, a very similar way to spending dragon stones on additional spots for your character list. All right, I think that's the best way to look at things. But then again, you know, there are a few issues where they've converted things over from Dokkan to Legends and it just isn't the right way to do it. I think energy or stamina is a great example of that as well. In Dokkan, you can get a lot of it, okay? You can get a lot of it and it's all stacked up. You have like a massive, massive bank of it, okay? And you're going to be able to, you know, level up your level constantly. And then you're going to have access to more of it, which allows you to play for longer or, you know, do more in a row without having to refill or anything like that of whatever the newest event is, okay? And in this case, obviously, there's no scaling. Z level 155, and I have the same energy that, you know, Z level 1 has, all right? Do I necessarily think that needed to happen? You know, it needed to scale like that? No. But when you continually increase the amount that you have to spend to do a certain thing, like to 3 or 4, eventually 5 even, come on, guys. Let's do better. Come on, please, Bandai. Please. Fix this, all right? Give us something here, please. Because every part of this update, man, is just, it's not looking great. Now, I will say they should be commended on a mission that I actually already completed, so I can't show you guys explicitly what I mean. But there was a cell mission for the level 50 cell, perfect cell battle, okay? When you complete that, it's a relatively easy thing to complete. You did get 1,000 chrono crystals, so that was a great option. This event where you get chrono crystals just by using up energy, going on adventures, things like that, also fantastic. I really, really like that. I really, really do. Haven't gone through the Broly event yet. Need to definitely check that one out. But looking through it, you know, there are some decent rewards. So, you know, not too terrible. Definitely can appreciate it. But there are just things that they really, really need to be fixing in this game that they really, really need to, you know, take into account if we're going to be spending anything on it, and how much more we would spend on it if it was a more reasonable price. You know, summons, again, if you have a really, really hyped character, people will spend, you know, ridiculous amounts of money on it and get as many of them, you know, as many copies of them whale out if they can. And, you know, that's going to be a consistent thing for them. But if none of us spend a lot of money on this particular thing, on more equipment slots, then maybe they'll make it more common, just like they did Silver Bells. Just, you know, want to throw that out there because I've seen a lot of people, you know, arguing back and forth on that and wanted to throw out my opinion a little bit. And then one final thing I want to discuss today. You go over to the character section, I believe. You get Equipment Awakening now, okay? And I don't know how I feel really about this just yet. It's cool and all. I don't know if I like the method of introducing it into the game, and that touches on our final topic of the day, which is going to be Ultra Space Time Rush. Sorry. So I haven't gotten super far into it, but I've seen people cover it, and I know basically what it entails. So you know, looking through this little shop and like what you can get out of it and everything, it's cool in one sense because it's a neat new PvE, you know, thing that we can do. It's not PvP in any way, shape, or form. It's just a neat thing where we're playing against the app itself, against the game developers themselves who created it, and getting rewards out of it. I guess the only issue I really see with this is that Equipment Awakening is going to be relatively pay to win right now because your rewards scale based on basically the quality of your units over a large amount of them. You know, again, you look at how many fights you're going up against here. You get 10 of them in this first matchup. That's a lot of fights. You need, relatively speaking, you know, you could probably get away with 2 again in some of these starting ones, but they're level 2,000 right from the get-go. 2,200 for the boss fights. So you're going to have basically at least 30 characters in this case that are leveled up all the way, that are relatively decent. You know, sparkings or extremes because heroes just don't get the job done. I've tried it. Some of them do okay. Shallot does pretty decent, but otherwise, you know, for the most part, the heroes just don't get the job done. And you also have, you know, a bunch of challenges, like individual challenges you need to actually go through to get the maximum amount of points. Point rewards aren't amazing. You know, getting these things for free, it's not bad, but they're not, you know, crazy game-breaking great rewards. But they're good enough that, you know, you really want to do this, okay? You really want to knock out these, you know, Z or S rank rushes here and be able to get some more points, go to the exchange shop, and upgrade these relevant equipments by getting memory numbers, okay? But free-to-play players aren't going to have the same level of access to this as us players that have been around the block for, you know, a long time, have played the game for a long time, have a lot of characters, you know, at significant amounts of stars maxed out, things like that. If you don't have a whole bunch of level 2,000 characters, this is basically a completely useless game mode to you because you're going to go into it, you might get through, you know, 3 or 4 matches, maybe 5 matches, something like that, and you're not going to have any characters left over to actually play with. So it's more of an endgame thing, but it's like something that's going to be used to farther, you know, min-max characters. You know, getting an additional, you know, 10 to 15% or even 5% on each attribute of a given equipment is very, very relevant. You know, I'm sure you guys all have been in situations in PvP where you end up surviving a combo by a few thousand HP at most, or an opponent survives a combo by a few thousand HP at most, maybe even less than that. You know, we've seen 50 to 100 HP survivals. That's like a 0.1% thing when you're talking about a million plus HP. So that all is relevant, and it's all going to mean a significant, you know, damage output increase as time goes on, and it's going to farther push the, you know, pay-to-play, very wailed out players ahead and make it so it's even more difficult for your free-to-play, you know, not as veteran quote-unquote players behind. It's going to be much more difficult for them to continue to push, you know, at the same rate or a comparable rate, so they're competitive still. All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and knock out these dailies really quickly here. It's going to actually be an extreme, not too bad. Krillin, so we got some more Z medals. Not bad, I guess we'll take it. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and knock these out real quick and call it a day. But definitely let me know down in the comments below, what do you think about the topics we've discussed today, ranging from, you know, the Gogeta banner to Gogeta himself to the equipment slots to the Rising Rush mode. Definitely let me know what you think of all of that, and just, do you have any opinions that differ from mine? Do you have any counterpoints, anything at all? Or do you agree with what I'm talking about? I'd, again, love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. We have some great discussions in the comment sections of these videos where we really try to discuss things at length. So, you know, I'd love to hear your thoughts on everything. But with that said, we're going to grab a Jacko. We're going to continue on summoning on these banners. Obviously, would love to get more of these dudes. Any of the featured units would be just awesome. And it's going to be a hero. We're going to grab a Pan. Not bad. Almost 6 stars on her. One step closer to being able to finally friggin' just be done with that and get some Z medals out of heroes. That is what we're looking for right now. That is what we want. Gonna grab another hero. It's gonna be a birder. I'd like to do a 7-star Ginyu Force video as well. Definitely let me know down in the comments below if that's something that interests you. I would love to do that. We're going to be doing some hero and extreme-based videos very soon, so keep an eye out for some PvP videos soon on those topics. But, yeah, again, I'm just working on training everything up right now, so getting teams ready and everything a little bit on the back burner, which is why we've been doing other sorts of content. And, you know, with Gogeta coming out, that's a big thing to cover as well, so yeah. Just so you guys know why we haven't gotten the ball rolling on that. Z medals, baby. Let's go. Got him maxed out, which is definitely pretty nice. Moving on, Legends Rising. Again, we would love to pull one more cooler to get him to 5 stars so I can use him and feel confident in PvP. Again, with the Lineage of Evil team, unfortunately, not going to be today. And we've only got a few days left on this banner. But, yeah, we'll save those for another day. And we have got one more summon. Final collab summon. Give me that more Z power for Gogeta. That would be just awesome, game. You just wanted... Ooh, hello there. Hello there, guaranteed extremer above. Nice to meet you. The name's Chicken. We will definitely take that, you know. There are some... actually, there aren't some... I just got done saying there are pretty much all bad extremes on this banner, so... Yeah, not great. Not a great pull. There are a few of them that are okay, but not great. We're not getting 6 stars on him for any time. It's going to be a while. Anytime soon. Anyways, guys, that is going to be it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any ideas for future videos, drop them down in the comment section below. I'll see you in the next one. Till then...